Hey traders, welcome to another edition of the Crypto Lab with Alex, featured by Trading Analysis. I hope you are all well and sound. Lots of going on in the last couple of days. We had the Fed meeting yesterday. Jerome Powell basically stated the same. They are not going to move rates, I think, pretty much in 2021. Because of the transitory inflationary pressures, they think that these pressures are mostly through the base effects and also bottleneck in the supply side. So I kind of agree with that. So I kind of stay with them on this note. So we will not see probably until June or even the next meeting possible announcements of the rates moving higher or some tapering regarding the QE program. So that's mostly positive regarding stocks and also some upward going currencies, I think, as well as cryptos. So let's do a little bit of macro and then switch to our favorite cryptocurrencies. Be a little bit more cognizant of the today's shorter edition of the Crypto Lab, so I will not have much time for your requests. Just maybe put one. I will not be able to do many of them. So let's start and let's look at the first chart. They're looking from the kind of a world perspective, and that is a 10-year yields, which are moving up. We spoke about this last time. I was saying that I regard this as a little bit of a corrective move down, and that we are going to attack pretty much soon these potential resistance levels around 1.8 and 2%. We might try to penetrate these few times, but once and if we do on the upside, then this region, which you see from behind, will start to act as a support. Before it was a resistance, and then we might see 10-year yields go up to 2.361% before we see some correction to the downside, and maybe then possibly move higher. We are going to be, according to all of the statistics and all of the measures, in some type of inflationary environment for probably 2021, even in 2022, because not just base effect and bottleneck in supply side, there is also a kind of a good process of vaccination in the United States. Europe is lagging a little bit, so we will see possibly a more normalized travel and tourist situation. People will chase more services than they exist now because many of the shutdowns we had before. As you know, prices are rising, especially in a commodity space, although from a bottleneck supply side reasons. I expect a little bit of a more inflation, and Fed is going to tolerate that as long as it kind of a fluctuate from this, let's say, 1.3 to 2.5, 2.4 levels. Fed was very clear that if they see something appearing into inflation which is out of possible control, they will use their tools to tame it down. But eventually, when the economy balances itself in a year or two, we might see deflationary forces, which was working for the last 10, even more, 15 years, which are seen from demographics and also technology advance to push prices further lower. And we might be again in deflationary environment in a couple of years when economy balance itself. So we always track these kind of macro things because they affect the other assets classes, and I think this is a particularly very important for stocks and also for cryptos. Although they might seem uncorrelated, but we also know that many of the funds has some portion of the exposure in cryptos, and when the things starts to move lower, when this VAR starts to fluctuate much, they will close their peripheral holdings, at least temporary, to kind of a hold margin for the other stock positions. So that will affect cryptos as well. And also many other reasons. I think people will close their trading platforms when the situation starts to be more available for traveling and leisure. They will cash in on some of their gains and go spend a little bit and kind of relax for some time, which is normal after all of the planet has been going through. Nothing much on the CoinDesk news today. We have some announcements regarding Fed. Almost I covered that. Bitcoin stays near 55K. There is some of the raises for the possible new ETFs. Nothing much. I just scrolled down this morning. I didn't see much of a happening. I think it's a kind of a quiet week here. So we can move immediately to look the latest Bitcoin dominance chart. As you know, this is the relation between the Bitcoin and the other cryptos, and this is developing pretty much as we said in the last crypto labs. We are seeing a five-way move on the upside from 2018, and now we are seeing a possible flat correction, which is a three waves down, three waves up, and then a five-way move lower. We penetrated this 52 kind of a support level, and now we start to count a few weeks back this as a possible third wave, which definitely corresponds to its character and nature. It is very vertical one on the downside. The first target for this possible third wave will be around 45.54, which means that possibly for the next few days we will see alts moving higher, and then we will see some corrective pullback in this possible wave 4 in this continuing five-way move to the downside. So this wave 4 can go to this now, which was before support, now is the resistance, back to 52, and then roll over for the possible final fifth wave, because this flats, expanding flats, can go a little bit deeper than usually anticipated. So I think we will go in this fifth wave even below 40 or somewhere around there, where the Bitcoin might start to regain this dominance against the alts, at least for some temporary time. And as you can see also on this daily chart, the RSI is a kind of a very low levels, around 16, below 20 anyhow. So after maybe a small push to the downside, it will be time for some bounce, and then a further possible continuation to the downside to complete this sequence. So we are going to stay bearish on this one, tracking all of this, what we have said before regarding the Bitcoin dominance chart. Not much change in the crypto market cap. We have seen some of the newcomers climbing into a first 20, so we will not go this time through that. Let's look what is going on with the Bitcoin. As you know, last time we stayed with the trend. We didn't panic much regarding the current correction in the cryptos. So one more thing I want to show you. I found my chart from the Bitcoin from 2014, and oh my God, I almost forgot about that. I was counting this first move up in a five wave, and this was wave 1, as you can see here. I labeled it. It is on my Twitter feed back in 2014, and I just remembered I had it and I scrolled down to find it. So then it was a corrective pullback down to these 270 levels, and from there we all know what happened. Anyhow, an interesting feature. It was a good analysis, but I didn't unfortunately buy it here anyhow, we know what all happened afterwards. So let's go to our crypto charts. I want to point out, and I had a good discussion with Todd on the members webinar from the Premier service, from the trading analysis, and we looked this RSI on monthly, and it's kind of agrees with our overall outlook. This is a very interesting observation. As you can see here on a daily, as we pointed out, we are around 30-35 now on a Bitcoin chart, but now if you look the monthly, we are already starting to go above 91. And as you can see in previous times, during the last 10 years, this was a kind of a levels where we had these larger corrections unfolding, but not before we tested these levels again. So what we had in 2013, 2014, we had the RSI reaching this 92 levels, push on the downside, and then retraced from these 70 levels again, tested, and then fail. And then we have the similar situation in 2017, although this test was a little bit smaller. It started, if you look from here, and then it went a little bit lower, so it was not the same repeat. And then we tested again, but the percentage kind of agrees on this push on the upside, and then we fell pretty much on the downside. And I think the same situation will happen here. And I try to pair that with my overall weekly and daily wave counts. This is just one additional thing I'm observing. So we might start from this 75K, 80K, which I'm counting as a possible end of the wave 3, to go down in this RSI and kind of test it again. And in a percentage range, this kind of agrees with our upside target. So one of kind of addition of the observation among many others we have from the technical perspective. So let's dive into Bitcoin chart. Let's look what is going on. And as you know, our stance was pretty much we stayed bullish despite the fall that happened and kind of maybe a little bit scared the crypto community. Everybody was kind of saying that maybe the Bitcoin is going to go much lower. But we kind of observed this move to the downside and noticed it is a sideways consolidation. So our wave count stayed basically the same on higher time frames. We count this from the beginning of the 2019 as a 5 waves up, 3 waves pullback, and then we are observing this third wave on the upside, which you can clearly see here. And in Elliott wave theory, a usual sequence is a 5-wave move, which we are observing here. Definitely this is a third wave, judging by all the metrics and the angle and the character, because all of these things has their own character when they move, which express the investor psychology. So we are looking for two specific fib ratios. This one is 200. We already passed 1618 and equality, which is this base channel kind of explaining. So these two we can erase. So the next one is around 75,000. We can overshoot it a little bit, and it's kind of agrees with this possible triangle. Then we should go a little bit in a crypto winter, which might have a sideways consolidation, which will pair up with this possible move lower in this RSI. And then after this consolidation is finished, we might continue on the upside towards this 170 to 180K, which also agrees with the percentage we measured also here for this move on the upside, which also happened in the past. So we are going to follow this kind of hypothesis as long as it produces and it goes where we think it's going to go according to our wave count. And let's go down in a daily where the RSI lows was very visible around 30. So if we count this, we can see that this was a kind of a sideways consolidation. So we have here still several options. This can be finished running flat. I explained flats, I think, last time, so you can go back and see the last crypto lab and see the explanation on flats, or we can still be in an ongoing triangle, which will have a few more legs before we go higher and possibly reach this 74 80k on the upside, which I think is going to be the end of this move on the upside. As you can see, everything cannot work linearly in nature. Nature is fractal, so we had a pretty kind of a staggering run on the upside, and this in one time has to come to end. I still don't think that from here we will go directly to this 180 200k, which many of the kind of crypto proponents are saying it's going to happen until end of 2021. I'm not saying it's not possible, maybe I'm wrong, but looking at the current situation, current metrics, and all of what I have explained, I don't think that is so probable. So much more, I think, after this big move on the upside, Bitcoin needs to rest a little bit, kind of go sideways in some complex corrective pullback, or even a triangle here, which will take some time to unfold to pair with this correction. And the guideline of alternation is telling us that if this was a simple move to the downside, that one potentially might be a complex one. So I'm looking for a possible triangulation here in the big range. So if we decompose this in a probable triangle, we might have something like this unfolding from, let's say, June, July until the next, let's say, March, April. Equality is around January, half of the January, 1618, and this is the time relation sometime we use, because definitely in the Elliott wave, kind of a right look guidance, we are looking for a proportionate correction time. Fourth wave should be a little bit longer usually than the second wave, especially if the second wave is in a simple form. So this one might go in a triangle, kind of a triangle, or usually known as a wedge contracting wedge form, or we can see something more complex, which will give us something like WXY, which means that we will have a 3 waves down, 3 waves up, and then another 3 waves down to this kind of a 30, 35, 40,000 levels. Okay, so on a smaller time frame, I'm looking for a pullback. So this pullback will be either in a second wave or in a triangle. And as long as these 43 levels hold, I'm going to stay with this corrective notion that Bitcoin is still not ready to move down. I'm going to stay to kind of advocate for a further upside, because we didn't see any clear signs that the trend is over. Okay, so you know the sentence, trend is your friend, and you need to keep as long as you can with the ongoing trends, especially observing these corrections. And as I pointed out, we noticed this in the several previous crypto labs, that after this beautiful move on the upside, we started to see this kind of a very nice pullbacks, but they start to be more and more often, which definitely shows that the trend was weakening, and either a profit taking or a sellers were becoming more and more frequent. And if we are in a triangle here, triangle is something which is known as in an Elliott wave methodology as a warning sign, because it's usually placed in the fourth wave of the ongoing sequence, and it is informing you that you are going to see one more push on the upside, because the balance of the sellers and the buyers are kind of equal here. They firstly try to balance themselves here. The bulls push it up, or the bears, if you have the inverse situation in the chart, try to push it up one more thing on the upside, and then this thing reverses very rapidly in the other direction. So triangles are kind of handy. They're very difficult to trade. Many traders lose their composure because they might take a long time to unfold. But in general, they're nice patterns because they give you a lot of information and orientation where you are in the current trend. So although triangles are nasty, we should consider it as a very informative from the perspective of where we are. So in a case of a flat, which I think probably it is ongoing here because I see the other cryptos are breaking up. We have a 335, which means that this will not be still ongoing sequence in a triangle. We will just make a possible three-wave correction here, and then we will continue above these latest highs towards this, let's say 75, 80K, where we have our possible target around this 200% fib ratio, and that's how we measure the possible target for the wave 3. So I think everything is clear here. Still sideways price action, very nice push from these lows. We can subdivide this differently. This can be also a 5-wave move down. It can be also a 3-wave move. That's really not important. Even if we are in a triangle or in a flat, the final resolution on a Bitcoin will be on the upside as long as we hold these levels here. Okay, so I want to be very clear. So we usually do a confirmational step-by-step analysis, and we have a certain levels which indicates that our analysis was wrong. So in a triangle case, I will be wrong around 43,153. So that's very clear here because the price will go below the wave A. And in a flat case, I will be wrong if we go below 127, which is a little bit lower than here. But I think this push on the upside already kind of a signal us that this flat is a running flat, possibly finish with a commodity fed. Earnings very good so far. So I think that the trend will continue on the upside, and we will look to use some opportunities to kind of follow that after a few confirmations on the upside with our members. Okay, so let's look some of the other cryptos. For example, I noticed that Binance Coin is pushing on the upside. We already passed as we looked beyond this triangle. Also, that can be a running flat, but I see only 3 waves here. So I think probably the E wave was a very short one, and that we are going to go in a 1-2 and possibly continuing higher. So Binance is very bullish on the higher time frame. Also, Ether is further continuing on the upside, so it can be also that the wave 2 is already finished and it was very short. I'm still going to wait a little bit. Potentially we had 1-2, we'll have maybe another small pullback, but anyhow, also on a higher time frame, Ether is outperforming Bitcoin lately, and it still looks bullish up to some of the levels we have. Something we also did in the Polkadot, Uniswap, all of these wave counts are showing the initial probability of the further continuation. As you know, we remain bullish following these wave counts, and we're gonna stay bullish until we are proving different. So in many of these charts, as we were looking last week, we are seeing now a possible confirmation from lows in 5 waves, which means we're gonna most likely continue on the upside. So let me see and look some of your requests and do them, and that will be all for this Crypto Lab. If you want to see more of our work, you can join us at Trading Analysis, or you can take a small trial. We have a very nice crew in the Discord, many members, many exchanges, many charts, possible entries, and all of that stuff. We also have a trade desk, Motivate repository, many of the features here at Trading Analysis. regarding cryptos. We also have a members webinar. We did one on Friday regarding this crypto move lower with our members. This was our Friday crypto webinar. We did additional one for our members to explain our current outlook. You also have Discord trading analysis app for trading, crypto trade desk, chart room, and all of the other features. So trial is, I think, 27 bucks. So if you want to check us out and see what we do, you are very welcome. So let me look some of the cryptos. You look, I see there is a request for Matic. So Matic was, I was looking Matic very bullish. If you remember from the last time, it did exactly what we were looking for. We are looking here on a higher time frames, and this is a daily chart where we always start our analysis to see where we are in this current trend. So from this 2019, we had a nice push on the upside, beginning wave, a very big correction, which is a complex one. And then we have a continuation in a 5 waves up, 1, 2. So we are looking for some target for the green wave 3 in the blue wave 3. Remember, the nature of market is fractal, and the lesser time frames will perform the same kind of a subdivisions as in the higher sequence as they will do in a 1 minute time frame. So if you can count here a possible 5-wave move, you should be able also to do that on a 1 minute chart, which is very visible here. I will show you a 10-minute chart or a 15-minute chart where you can also see a development from these lows, a possible 5-wave sequence. So I'm going to stay still bullish on Matic. I'm just trying to see some of the targets where this wave 3 can finish. It can finish around the 1.9 or 2.67. Regarding the bullishness of other cryptos and possible move on the upside, I will probably look for a possible subdivision here on the upside in Matic. So I will decompose from this very nice wave 4 pullback, and you can see how we nicely kind of tested this base channel which we saw here. It was a 335, a flat corrective pullback, and then we are moving higher in a possible final sequence, but not in overall trend, just for this possible wave 3. We are going to see a pullback in a wave 4, and then a subsequent further move on the upside in the wave 5. So it's looking good for now. More upside, very nice gains from the last Friday. It went up pretty significantly from these lows, and we are continuing to move up. So let me check out what are you writing here. Okay, Andre, we did Matic, as you can see. Hey, hodler, we already explained our opinion on BTC versus alt. Hey Wilson, what's up? Thank you on being here with us. Swag, Todd, some of our members. Ujvali, hey Ujvali, what's up? Yeah, I checked Matic just now. As you can see, some TA guys claim that Theta could go up to 247 in this bull market run according to some circle fib levels. Could you please have a look at it? MR is asking for this. So let's look Theta and let's see what Theta is looking like. Yeah, Theta looks very bullish. I don't think it's going to go that far in this first sequence. So I count this as from these lows, and this is not the whole chart. Theta has a more price action from behind. So let's look Theta here on the trading view, because you can see a whole sequence. And let's see how the Theta looks from the higher perspective. So yeah, I mean, it's a question if you would like to count this as a 1-2. Anyhow, I'm going to track this 5-wave sequence in a possible wave 3 or a first 5 waves. It really doesn't matter. So I see Theta continuing here in this possible wave 3 to these 200 levels. So subdivisions implies we might continue higher and then correct. I think this target is a little bit kind of a very big ones. Possibly we might go up after this fourth wave pullback to this 208. I don't know if they will go to 247, which is a little bit higher here from this 208, not much, but probably they kind of just made a projection from this wave 1 and 2, and they got these three ratios, which maybe they look on some other scale, but maybe even they look at it in a log scale, but they had a slightly higher value. So I don't think the move up in theta will be directional, even if this is a sum up of a wave 3, 4, and 5, let's say, like this. I think we're gonna potentially go a little bit more upside with the other cryptos and then correct before we potentially go to these 208 levels. So that's my kind of opinion on theta. Hey Johnny, what's up? Uresh. Uresh is asking, is there any possibility that wave 3 is done? I mean, there is always a possibility, but you have to see a clear signs regarding Bitcoin on that one. It is always possible that you are wrong in your wave count, but then you have to you have to see, because you know your methodology, and if you know it very well, if we are already starting from here, a crypto winter, we should see some continuation on the downside and penetration of these 43 levels. And that will be one of the first signs that potentially this bullish outlook is not correct. So usually after this potentially 5-wave move, and let's work under hypothesis, then this is a final wave 3 from here. This will just correct in 3 waves, and then from here you will have a reversal which will penetrate this 43, and then I will say that my kind of an observation didn't work, and I will have to change how I view currently, because the pattern morphs, and you need to know very well how you can adapt to that and recognize the following pattern. There is not much of them. There is 13 of them, and they have their own variation. But for now, we don't have any signs whatsoever that this trend is still over. We're just seeing a sideways consolidation. So I'm going to stick with the trend, and I'm going to look possibly to kind of exploit this ongoing possibility on the upside, as long as we hold these lows and this area. I would say here, this will be my area, which I will look very carefully how it is defended from the crypto trading community. Also, we have some option expiration around 75 levels, which are timed to come in September, which kind of agrees with my wave count, and to look kind of this option where the option is leaning towards is also kind of a nice outlook, where the majority of people trading with options are pricing where actually the Bitcoin should be going. So that will be my observation on the possible completion of this wave 3 here, Uresh. Hey Todd, what's up? Yes, I already explained that the bug hodler wave 4 can be other than a triangle. It can be a zigzag, it can be a combination, or it can be a triple combination, so triple zigzag. Most likely following the guideline of alternation, when you have a zigzag in a second wave, wave 4 will be more complex, either a triangle or a double zigzag or even a triple zigzag. Okay, so let's look one more chart and complete this edition of the Crypto Lab. So let's choose one more from your requests. I'm seeing here, let's look ADA. So people are asking for ADA. We stayed bullish on ADA for this possible wave 3 on the upside. ADA was developing in a pretty nice move. So we are looking for the wave 3 targets around 2.52. We count this as a beginning 5-wave move in the ADA from the lows. So clearly there is a nice 5-wave move here. Corrections do not overlap. There is a small 1-2, 5 waves up in 3, down in 4, up in 5. A pretty kind of a sharp ABC pullback to the downside, or even a complex one. It's not complex, are usually a little bit more sideways. But in any case, from this previous wave 4 of the previous kind of a lesser degree, we continue on the upside in a third wave fashion, which means that the angle of ascent is pretty much steep. And we came across here in a corrective pullback, which pairs with this one here. So we look this as a 1-2, up in 3, down in 4, and a further move on the upside. We wait a little bit for a confirmation. We need a 5 waves or a 1-2, 1-2, which will be even more bullish. So for now, ADA is showing us that this correction was properly observed. This was probably a 335 flat completed, and we will continue to look for a possible move on the upside in this ADA further, as long as these levels here hold. And my level of support on ADA will be around 0.9767, the last kind of resort level, and of course these lows here around 0.92. So lots of cryptos I've start to follow for our members. We already have a kind of a 2 chart packages. In one of them, we are tracking the kind of a coins, which was a kind of an old one. I mean, old, kind of a couple of years, which are listed here, which is Tronix, I don't know, XLM, XRP, Tezos, Neo, Link, Ethereum, Bitcoin, and then I had to form this one because for me it's much more easier to work in a multi-wave software, because it allows me to kind of analyze much more chart for our members, where we have lots of these alts, which are kind of a new in the crypto space. So if you like to see more of our work, you are free to join us or check us out work. So thank you very much on the presence in the crypto lab. I'm going to prepare also some of the things for the next week for you. I hope you have some insights of our analysis, and stay well, stay healthy. Click the like button if you like our work, and see you next week, guys, on the same place. So we stay, just to conclude, bullish on cryptos as long as this support levels hold, as we said, and we're going to continue to track our wave counts, which serves us well from the last couple of sessions. So yeah, just potentially we are going possibly to add another crypto lab. It's not going to be actually a lab. Todd and I are discussing possibly to do some trading charts, which means that possibly one time a week we are going to choose one tradable crypto, and I'm going to start to post live trading of that crypto with the specific levels. So what we are going to do with our funds, and you can check that out. We are still discussing this option. So this is just a pre-announcement. We still have to see and kind of establish this to work, and if this is going to be a new feature, I will gladly tell you, I think next time, and I will inform you when this is going to start, so you can hit subscribe or a kind of a announcement button so that it can warn you every time I'm live. I don't know if we are going to go with a specific day, or we are going to go as some of the formations, patterns we see aligns for the possible live trading in front of the kind of bigger audience. So see you next Thursday, and have a nice weekend and the next week. Bye bye.